Awakens. Preston Dennett, joined by Dolly Saffron, guiding you beyond the veil and into the infinite unknown. Every week, we unlock high strangeness, extraterrestrial contact, hidden realms, psychic awakenings, the afterlife, and secrets they don't want you to know. Step through the gate, and if you feel the calling, subscribe to the channel and share it with those ready to awaken.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Light Gate. We are coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans and in the state of Louisiana at the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. We're on Facebook, we're on Roku, we're on Rumble, and we're on YouTube. I would like to thank our sponsors tonight. Carnation, you started with us last year. You're rolling with us still. We love you very much. Thank you. Y'all give them a try. We cook with them. I cook with them all the time and use them in my coffee. All right, Preston, we got a cool night tonight because somebody we love has come back to see us.
Yes, it's been quite a while. Thank you, Dolly. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for episode 145 of The Light Gate. I hope you enjoyed our new introduction. We're having a lot of fun with that. And I, of course, am your host, Preston Dennett. My lovely co-host is Dolly Saffron. I'm an author, researcher, a little bit of an experiencer. She is an experiencer extraordinaire, fully conscious contactee, subject of my book, Symmetry. We have a wonderful guest tonight. I'm so excited. I'm just going to say a very, very quick hello to the folks in chat because it's because of you guys we do this show. We love you so much. Thank you so much for joining us each Monday evening. Let's see who we have. I'm going to keep this down to 1 minute, so please excuse me if I go real fast here. But we got Barris. Hello, Barris Carbonian. We got Daniel Nordine and Rocco Macri and Astrid Guder. We have Poetic Poems and the Owlman and Teresa Levine. Charisse Bazilla. We got quite a crowd here already. You guys are amazing. Catmaster Trash. We have Sonny Burnett. Aw, thank you, Sonny. Truly appreciate it. Every donation is absolutely a wonderful thing for us. Thank you. Namaste. We have Shelly, the baby Joy, riding in a spaceship. Awesome. Z Sundrag, Little Dove. Who else we have? We have Oguzanardik. I hope I got that right.
Oguzanardik.
Okay, you can correct us.
Yeah.
Scarlet Fire. We have Caroline Brown, Perennial Philosophy, Texas Cacti, News Martin, Heidi Goal, and a bunch of other folks. Thank you, guys. We absolutely adore you. But let's get right to our guest. So excited. He was actually our 9th guest. We had him on a couple of months after that, guest number 23. But now he's coming back as the guest for our number 145 show, and his name, of course, is Martin Rivera. He is a QHHT hypnotherapist. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He's an awesome guy. I normally can't see auras, but I can see his aura. It's very clear. He's got this amazing white aura about him, as you'll see. At any rate, as I said, he's a quantum hypnotherapist. This is a technique first developed by highly regarded author-researcher Dolores Cannon. He's been studying, Martin has, the subject of UFOs and ETs for many years and uses this technique to help experiencers remember and process their otherworldly encounters. He's certified in quantum healing, hypnosis, and past lives at the Dolores Cannon Academy in Arkansas. He's the co-founder of Quantum Balance. You can see in the show notes how to get in touch with him. This is a healing arts center with transformational programs based on Long Island, New York. He also does past life regression therapy. I think that's so interesting, Dolly. I've always wanted to try getting regressed to a past life. Not to mention, the missing time episode I have, but I haven't done it yet. At any rate, he does past life regression therapy and sometimes, as it turns out, a future life. That's interesting. Sound and light healing, emotional healing therapy, pineal gland activation, connecting with your higher self, meeting your spirit guides, accessing your Akashic records, and Reiki healing. He's fluent in Spanish and has translated a number of books into Spanish, including Dolores Cannon's amazing books, The Custodians and Keepers of the Garden, and many others. He's worked with a lot of people, authors and experiencers, aiding them in their journey of spiritual discovery. And I'd just like to read a little bit of a quote from him. As Martin says, I helped you to connect with your higher self for healing, mind, body, spirit. So many people have recalled past lives, reaching back to Atlantis or even Lemuria, or, this should come as no surprise, even a past life as an ET. Others, of course, recall ET encounters as young children. The possibilities are endless. And it shouldn't surprise you either that Martin has had a few amazing UFO experiences of his own. So yeah, we're going to have fun tonight. Let's bring on our wonderful guest.
Welcome back.
So guys, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I mean it, Martin. I normally don't see auras, but there's just a white light around you. There's something about your energy.
It's because my toddler, just keep him, putting closer to to myself. He's like, hugging me, so I'm just like, exploding in love.
That makes sense.
Yes, I'm very enjoying it.
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you again. So excited. Our show has grown quite a bit since you've been on last. So not sure how many of the people watching have had a chance to go back to some of our early shows. So why don't we just start there by asking you, how you got to where you are today, what you were like as a little kid. Did you have encounters as a little kid? What brought you to this amazing position you're at today?
Right. Thank you so much, Preston. It's amazing that I like you kind of your show and guys or people who are orientated from the ET UFO phenomena, because I feel more free to express myself. Because many of the people that know me, they know me through like more of the healing stuff or the past life regression, but not much about the ET phenomena or encounters and so on.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So that's what I like, because the people that come to me, they come in for healing, for emotional healing or for trauma, or they want to really have an advice from higher self or from source, what to do in their projects or life career changing, or for healing, for any aspect of their lives, But then, that's the amazing part, which is they don't know anything about the ET UFO phenomena. Nothing at all. Some of them, they're like nothing, And then somehow in the session, while I'm regressing them, because part of this technique is like sometimes people, they see 1, 2, or 3 past lives at the same session, and then and then one of them is an ET life. It's like completely like blew their minds off. They don't expect anything of that, but somehow there's information about it, that is related to this present life, and either for good or either to remind them, what's their life purpose too, or what is the background of that, and how it's relating to the present life and their conflicts, they're in their inner self conflicts, So
Exactly. Yeah.
that part,
Our past lives definitely affect us. You might not believe in them, but they're still affecting you anyway.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, I had a session yesterday, on Sunday, and I had this girl coming from New Jersey, and she was kind of like expecting to have a past life from Egypt, because she told me like I was connected to Egypt, to ancient Egypt, and somehow she got to see 2 past lives. One was like in First World War. She was a general from Germany. In the 1920s, 1930s, during the First War, 1917 to 1920 something. So she was, they showed me a life as a kid, and then, as a young, and then he became a general, But then when we changed, the life, she went to the afterlife. She explored the afterlife. But then, when she came, to explore another past life, Then it was in another system, and then she started looking at, telling me how the body looks like. And she was like a big head, blue skin, and a garnet, and then she had like, she was a female too. And she had like, two children, but they were like itty looking, and they had this whole life, in peace, and part of the episode, she was like, kind of like, this is boring, but she was in peace, like, I feel realized and I feel completely, flowing in peace. And I was like, completely different, they had these houses structures, like she kept telling me like a coconut shape, like a rounded, but they were so connected to the earth, to the planet, and they live like a peaceful life, But then it was like, because part of the technique, we connect the people to their higher self or the source, and then we can start doing this dialogue and questions, First of all, like, why did you show him this, show her this life?
Yeah, that was my question.
Exactly. So the purpose was like to remind her that she can live in peace because she had done it before. So it's not that you only looking at it, you feel it. It's like it goes into your present life. It's like you have that sensation, you achieve it. Now you can do it once more. So I was like, wow,
Wow. So did she come there for the purpose of exploring past lives?
Of course, yeah. She wanted to know, part of the, because it's like your soul journey, what point it depends on your struggles too, your conflicts, and of course she felt like a little bit lost. She wants to change career, so it's like she wants to do an advice, and plus she was like she somehow had a psych ability, but she hasn't explored it yet. She can tell people her intention, or she can sometimes see timelines, but very like popping, and sometimes she can see people from the other side. I mean, like sometimes they call it ghost, but they're not ghosts, Sometimes they want to transmit like a message to the relatives, but I remember she told me like she doesn't control that. So she wants to, an advice for it too, how could she control it, and to be more in tune to it, because she was like kind of like affected sometimes for people emotions and all that. So she came to the session to looking for that. So
was she surprised to recall an ET past life?
Yes, when I woke over, she was like, I didn't expect any of it.
I can imagine. Wow.
Yeah, usually it was like that when you expect something, like source or higher self is like, we're gonna show you this, and that's something you don't really expect it, So that's amazing,
Very
isn't
cool.
it?
Yeah, it is. There's only a few people who do the kind of work you do that I refer people to, and you're one of them.
Thank you.
So I'm glad that you came on, because there are a lot of people who ask me, is there someone you can recommend? I'm like, yeah, I know a few people. You're one of them. So I have your contact info for when
Thank you
people
so
reach
much. I
out.
appreciate that.
Because a lot of people are searching.
Right.
I have a question.
Sure.
I have a question. Have you ever had anybody do a life regression and they remember being an animal of any kind?
Yes.
Have you ever had that come up?
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Really?
Not only animals, even plants, or even elements, like water or lava, lava from volcano.
Huh.
I was like,
Wow.
slipped over my mind too,
Wow.
So any of the elements of the earth, or anything out there too, even a star. That was another one that blew my mind too, be a consciousness from a star. So I was like, wow, what's the purpose of it? And I remember the phrase, it was like, the expression came to like, I'm just filtering the codes and light, and it's like amplify it for the system that star particularly was on. So that was the purpose of it.
Very unusual.
I was like, wow.
All right, so let's go back in time.
Okay.
To when you were a little. So you're just a little boy, and are you thinking of these kinds of topics? Were you deeply spiritual as a little boy or anything?
that was the funny part is like part of when I was growing up, because I was born in Mexico, and I had sightings. That's the thing. I remember when I was a child, I was playing in the backyard. They had these tall trees, and I saw this kind of like object, wobbling like this, no sounds at all. But I could see. I remember where I was seeing like lights hovering, like the lights were like moving in circle, but they were like different colors, like really multicolor. I just look at it. I was like before kindergarten, I was like probably between 4 and 5, and I look at it. It only lasted for like maybe 6 seconds. It just went like this, just counted, and just kept playing,
But you remembered it.
Yeah, but I remember it, Yeah. And then that was the first occasion. The second one was with my whole family. We were going to a park, and I had a sister, my parents, and we saw this UFO like just, starting out off to the sky, It took us like only like a second, but all of us watched it. And we were like stunned, like, what was that, And that was my second one.
Mexico seems to have a lot of activity,
Yeah.
Where was this in Mexico?
Right in Mexico City,
Oh
my goodness, yeah.
And of course, I was witness about the solar eclipse back in 1991, where the whole solar eclipse, went through Mexico City, and it was an event, because it's one of the biggest cities in the world, and just, visualize that, traffic, cars, just like New York City, and like a solar eclipse right in the middle of it, And then I remember I was like a teenager already, and I was on the roof of the building I used to live in, the apartment, and I remember watching it, because I remember, taking the class and they explained us, you can watch it, but you cannot watch it before or after, because we got this lighting, that could really damage your eyes, Right. So we were using like these water pockets, and to see it from a reflection, and some of the people had their special lenses, But then when it was like a full eclipse, we all of us, watched, I remember the temperature dropped like almost 10 degrees, like overnight, in like seconds, and all the animals, dogs, everything was silence.
Yeah, I was there, by the way. I was in Baja, California.
Oh, these days, see?
So, well, not Mexico City, but pretty close.
Well, it's right up there, it's right on the West Coast, really. And then, and I remember, this sensation, and like amazing. And then we saw this object hovering to the left side, and we get to see it was shining really, because, the effect of the solar eclipse. And one of this, and on the top part, it looks like a lentil, like a metallic lentil. That's how it looked like, and then we just like, what is that, But then it's like through like the next day, I remember that was my first time that I watched Jaime Maussan on national TV, and doing this, show with other journalists, and pull up all the, like sharing all these videos that people from all over Mexico City were like in different angles and close-ups, and, more from far away. So it was like a real event. And guess what? From that time on, is that the whole wave of UFOs start appearing in the next day, like months and then years. So, but I was part of it too.
Yeah,
so.
I think that's one of the best, certainly in the top 10 filming events of a UFO. Because with so many people, what was it, 20 or 30 people sent in videotapes? A lot of them.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, 2020. Yeah, between 2030. Yeah.
It's undeniable. This to me is a perfect example of the ETs, and I think that's who we're dealing with here. ETs basically saying, announcing their presence.
Exactly. And remember, back then there was like old VHS video camera, those like giant cameras, like people. It was really expensive to get one of them, and let alone there was no AI like now, so you can beat that,
I bet they came because they knew people were going to have cameras for the solar eclipse.
Exactly. Yes, that's the whole. What was the whole purpose of it?
Yeah, because there was an event where I grew up in Topanga Canyon, where there was a really big UFO event on the night of a lunar eclipse.
Wow.
So a lot of people were outside.
Right.
So I think that there's a very interesting element of timing to how they do this.
Right. Yes, they do. And plus, we heard like from the Mayan prophecy, like about this time, the lords of the stars were coming back again.
Oh, wow. That's kind of interesting.
So that's another plus. Yes, I remember, back in class, talking about that because the whole, topic about the UFO and ET just came out again, and we started, people started researching more and more, and we found out about the Mayans. So
they knew about something.
Yes, so
all those structures they built.
So that's part of the side that I was growing up, and of course I always had back in my mind what exactly they are, what do they want, and then I remember watching even before teenagehood, I was exactly was between 10 and 11 watching the show Cosmos from Carl Sagan, the first one, the original one. And he came out with the case of the couple from New Hampshire, they got abducted. What was their name?
Betty and Barney Hill.
Barney Hill, exactly. And that I was like, you remember I was a kid between 10 and 11, and I was like, what? Do they really exist?
Yeah, I think I was like 9 years old when the UFO incident came on TV. And I just thought, well, isn't that interesting?
Right. And of course,
you grew up having quite a few sightings then.
Yeah. And of course, when I moved to the US, I had more.
Oh my goodness. What year did you move to the US? What year did you come into the country?
95. That's when I came.
1995. Wow. Okay.
And when I went to study in Dolores Cannon Academy, it used to be in Arkansas.
Right.
All of us watched orbs, going around the building. We went to the lake. There was an orb in there, just hovering, and the whole paranormal stuff happened, between all days that we were there. So that was another plus,
Did you get to meet Dolores firsthand then?
The thing was like, I booked my, tickets, and she was going to do like a presentation. I can't remember, was it in Indianapolis or Minnesota? That was back in 2014, right?
Right.
And that's when she had an accident. She fell or something. She went to the hospital. They canceled the show. But then like 3 months later, she recovered, but then she passed away, And I never got to, met her. But anyway, in one of my sessions, she came through.
She did. There you go. So you did meet her.
I got a message. It was like a move, It was like, wow, And then I remember she told me, like, I didn't choose you as a student. I choose you as a friend.
Oh.
And she was happy to learn it. Yeah.
I did get to meet her very briefly.
Did you?
Conference. Yeah, I had a table, and her table was directly across from mine, and we kind of just kept looking at each other. But she was mobbed, so finally, I found a moment of silence, which was very short because she had a lot of people, and I just introduced myself. She was very sweet.
Yeah. Where was it? Where was the conference?
Gosh, it must have been Arizona. It could have been Colorado. I was all over the place those days.
Right. Yeah.
She was in Nevada, for all I know. I don't know. It wasn't Arkansas.
Right. Okay.
Something like that. But yeah, she was a sweetie. Really nice.
She was a tough cookie too, let me tell you that,
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, when she was in the teacher mode, oh my God, she was like right on, because she want to make sure, learn exactly how she was, done it, She wants to make sure of that.
Right. So what inspired you to go learn QHHT?
That's the other part that got me here, because I remember I used to suffer from depression and even gastritis, ulcers, like the whole different symptoms that I had for many years, and of course I went to the typical the medical, and then the psychologist, and I was like, no, this is something else that I have to really encourage my life and change my life around. And then that's how I started digging in, going to, trying this, trying that. And that's when I get into the hypnosis. And then, sure enough, when I get, I was part of the treatment. I went to a retreat, and that's how my journey started for healing. So I understood that part because once I overcame all these issues that I carried for so long. I felt myself free of it. And I understood what was the lesson about.
Yeah,
because
well, that's wonderful. Yeah, because you get a much better understanding, I think, if something you've gone through yourself. So
exactly. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
So all those like mysterious riddles of life or conflicts, they were like, oh, I get it. They tried to teach me something, but this ego mind is like it's always on the way. It won't let you see that, the part of that truth, because you're always, in the victim mode, and like it's them, they treat me like that, this and that, but it won't let you see that part. But once, you go from a different perspective of life, when you see all these past lives or the part of the higher consciousness that what truly who we are, because we are soul, and then things change. It's like, oh, okay, so that wasn't, that was just an option. In as a matter of fact, sometimes, many of the cases you plan it like that. It's like you choose your parents, even your parents choose you, even friends, or sometimes what you call so-called sometimes enemies. Yeah, you choose them too for a purpose.
Yeah, there's a lot you can learn from an enemy.
Yeah. So, and also volunteers. And I was like, what? What do you mean volunteers? Yes, like he is a volunteer, so to play this role for you to learn, to wake up. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, it's not easy, but it's not impossible. So, and of course, that took me like 180 degrees, from attitude change, and I remember like when I came home, because I went to this retreat in nearby Mount Shasta. It was there for like a full week.
Oh, wow.
I remember like
Beautiful place.
yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I love it. And we have more paranormal stuff there too.
Okay, no, wait, you're skipping over some of this stuff. What paranormal stuff? I want to hear about that.
Believe me, it's a lot, really. And every time I was like, oh, okay, this happened, this and that.
Well,
But yeah.
what? Can you share some of it?
Oh yeah, of course. And that was another sighting too in there. So here we were like a part of like 13 people. So we rent this house nearby, and it was like next to like a creek, coming from the mountain. And then we had ghosts in there, like showing up, 2 of them. And then when we went to the mountain, I remember watching. I was observing this UFO, but it was like very peculiar. It looks like a plasma. If it moved as if it was like a jello, when you touch jello and it moves like this and or waves like this, and it stays the same. I watched it for only like a 2 second, and I was like, I thought it was like, my mind, playing tricks or imagine, but no, it was real. They were there, when we were doing meditation at the mountain, because we had this tent. And the people that invite me over, they're like colleagues of mine from Australia. And then they brought this device too, like this, like it's like a frequency device that that flashes, gives like a flashes on and off, but you have to keep your eyes closed, all the time. And they use like binaural beats, too, so you could do it like by yourself, or we did it in group too, because they work on you like, in a personal level in the morning, but then we move it to the mountain at the at the afternoon. So we were doing like like a meditation, all of us at the same time, like 2 groups, one 6, another 7, But that's when I watched the UFO, and I felt a presence, like someone was walking around ourselves, and even I could even hear these steps, But there was only of us. We all like laying back, and I felt it, and I wasn't the only one that I heard that. All the other my peers that were like reporting the same, like someone or couple people were like walking around ourselves, but you don't see it. You open your eyes and like there's no one there, but you felt it. You know what I mean? You feel like this kind of like static on your back, and that's, that's something like, no one can give it to you, but we all of us felt it, like this kind of like energetic static
Yep.
body, but it feels smooth, that's the thing. It felt smooth. You feel more peace at it, you don't feel like, I'm scared of it. No, you feel like, oh, that is, like soothing,
Peaceful,
breathing, oh boy,
Interesting.
yeah. So yeah, we had that setting too in Manchester. So that's another one, you know what I mean? And of course, it doesn't get like this. I don't leave it like as a mystery. And here's what I do. Sometimes when I got people that they don't know me at all, I don't really keep talking about it, or I don't share with clients about my own experiences, But then when they go under hypnosis and we connect them to source and they start, answer their own questions. But then there's a time like, okay, it's done, we got their main question, the healing, whatever. And then here's my opportunity. Once everything is done, I always ask, can I make more questions? Sometimes they say yes. Sometimes they will say, no, that's good enough. Okay, thank you. With my whole gratitude. But when they say yes, I pull on my own questions, and that's one of them. Exactly how I was telling you guys. And the answer, my question was like, first of all, who was it that really UFO what I watched when I was there? They say yes. And I was like, who are they? They say, oh, those are the Guardians. That's the first time I heard about them, the Guardians. I'm like, okay. And then what was the other, sensation that we felt, that we felt a presence? They say, oh yeah, there were two different kind of beings too with you guys. I was like, which one? I said, one was from the Arcturus system. That were many people they recall him to see him like a blue beings, the blue skin, very thin and tall, And the other one was like beings from the star system of Pleiades or the Pleiades, So I was like, okay, so what they were doing. My next question was like, okay, so what were they? What was the purpose for them to be with us in there? Oh, they said because they were sharing part of the portal that is there. There's like the energy grid, and you guys were part of that. We're expanding that energy grid that is connected to the whole planet. And I was like, okay, so what's the benefit for it? They said, oh, there's many benefits because it goes into humanity. It goes into, the consciousness of Earth. And that's this part of the symbiosis with Mother Earth and us humans and flora and fauna.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
One person affects everyone else,
Exactly. Yes.
So let's just get a little bit of a foundation here on what QHHT is. What is hypnotherapy? Because there's a lot of controversy surrounding it. There are some who say, it creates false memories. And others say, well, no, you can absolutely accurately recall. I think both is true because it's been proven in some studies that done incorrectly.
All right.
It can be.
Right. Yes. Okay. What I have observed, Preston, that's something. Yes. Sometimes when people don't or are not prepared for the session, because many people, they just want to do the session in, one visit, without meditation. So sometimes the ego mind, they always want to control things around,
Yep.
And sometimes the ego mind interferes, when you're in the middle of the session. So because that's the ego mind, the ego mind will always try to protect you. That's the main role of the ego mind, to protect you, but it won't allow you to thrive. So sometimes, if the person is if he goes into control mode all the time, the ego mind is there, and it kind of like throws you off. Second one, people have fears of anything, fears of the unknown. So ego mind is there again. The third one is like, if you skeptic, yes, ego mind will interfere again. If you doubting, it will do the same. So this like kind of like these four nuances that ego might always try to take control of the session. You know what I mean? So the other part that I learned, because I asked source, like, why some people can get under hypnosis, so they can really see their past lives. So sometimes other people just can't connect it to source. And the answer was like, very wise. It's like, first of all, teach them to how to meditate
Yep.
for weeks. It's okay. I ask how many weeks. Some will be 9 to 12 to 14 weeks. So teach them to how to meditate, and they have to meditate for at least 25 minutes to 30 minutes almost every day. It's a minimum 5 times a week, but they can do every day. That will set the tone so they can go into the inner peace. So their minds they won't interfere, because our minds, they're always on the past, or sometimes it's always, worry about the next future. Or sometimes it goes into the expectation mode. So that throws you off. So when you learn to meditate, you go into the inner peace state where your mind doesn't wander off, So you always, like you tune in right when when people come for the session, they already meditate like almost 3 months. So in that way, they go right through in their past lives, and we can connect them to the source. So that's the big difference. So I noticed many of my colleagues, or I ask the friends that I have, that sometimes they don't do that. They just, they book you, people, they call them, they book them because that's the protocol. Dolores kind of used to have people in one session, in one day. They did everything. So I learned that, so I don't do that. I developed this protocol of 3 days. You know what I mean? So I give them time. But the most important thing about this is like, you have to trust, the therapist or the practitioner. That's the bottom thing. And sometimes I have people, when they call me or they want to book a session, and they say, oh, I did this session, years ago, and it didn't work. And that was my first question. Did you trust the people you did the session? I said, be honest, it doesn't matter. They say, yes, I didn't trust. So you don't trust, you're going to go under hypnosis. So you have to be, trust, truthful with yourself and, with the practitioner or the therapist, but that's very fundamental to trust,
Well, I like that, having people meditate, especially before, seems like a very good idea to me.
It is. And as a matter of fact, is source or higher self will always recommend people to keep practicing meditation. Why? Because once you start, doing this habit, everything goes smooth through your day. Believe it or not. So once you get into it, like in weeks and months, it's like, okay, I get it. I remember when I started meditating on my own. It took me 2 months to really start meditating. My mind was throwing me off.
Yeah. I know the feeling.
I have a question. Do you use your own meditation as the sort of where you can self-hypnotize yourself to go into the altered state so that you can recoup memories on your own? And have you ever taught anybody else how to do that?
No, it's different. The meditation that I use for people so they can practice before coming to session, I use the Silva technique meditation. Mm-hmm. That goes into just breathing, and sometimes you visualize numbers on steps. Even people do that, just practicing, they start seeing, visualization, they come through their minds. And sometimes they're amazing because sometimes they're past lives. Sometimes like parallel timelines too, or parallel lives, That's something like, what? But all this, when I told it, when I prepare these people for this protocol, I tell them, write down in your diary. Do not try to, look for it in Google, the meaning of it. Don't do that. So when they write down their own experiences, when they come for the session, that experience they had, I presented to source to have them explain what are they observing this when they meditating, or if they have these vivid dreams as well, because you can have starting like more vivid dreams when they start doing this protocol. So of them, yeah.
So for those who don't know what hypnosis is, can you just give us a basic definition?
Okay, hypnosis is only a relaxed state of the mind. Easy as that. So once you go into that easy relaxation, that's when things are start, they start getting or going to back in time, or anytime, even your present life, even if you go back into, when you were in the womb of your mother, or even in your time as a, as a child too, because there's like many types of hypnosis. Some of the hypnosis like just limited to, this present time, but this kind of hypnosis is like we connect you to the source of things. It's like the eternal part of yourself that knows everything about yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's what I love about it. Because it's not like we induce them to, let's say, because all the techniques like, okay, once you quiet your mind, you breathe in, you feel safe, you feel, surrounded by, protected care. But then there's techniques like, okay, you're going to go back time into your childhood, or you go back time when you were in the womb. No, it doesn't work like that. This technique, it only relax you. We have you to visualize one thing, and once you start visualizing that thing, your perfect place, your beautiful place, then that's when things happen. And then when you see, even we use like kind of like the cloud. That's the thing. We can use a cloud. We can use a bridge just to visualize to cross a bridge with fog.
Okay, so are you saying then that when you quiet the mind and you get it all calmed down and everything, you open up the ability to connect to your real consciousness,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Is the source.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So when we start that, remember all this process, we connect the time, the time when you start meditating, you're already connected to source, even if people doesn't know it. So there's no need for fears. There's no need for, because all the beliefs like, because I have people when they, they come, they ask me, are there entities that can go through you? I'm like, no. It's like we tapping into the most powerful force in the universe. It's the unconditional love, whatever you want to call it. You want to call it God, you want to call it higher consciousness, universe. They don't care how we call that. We call that. It works with you because we're part of it. We're an extension of it.
Right.
Exactly. And we're eternal beings. We've been around since forever, right? Yes.
Exactly. So that's part of that technique. Please, Dolly.
Do you see yourself as consciousness indwelling your body?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And even knowing myself, even clients, when they experience sometimes, when they experience the past lives, they sometimes they go on to, the other side. And they get some of them, they get to explore the other side too.
Right. Yeah.
Or sometimes when they see, so because part of the technique is like we explore, let's say a past life, and we always looking for 3 or 4 important days of the lifetime, right? But because there's information about it. But then the last day of that day, the day of the dead. Sometimes people see it, sometimes they don't, it depends because source, remember, source is the one who controls whatever, is important for you to see. But more than you see, you experience it like you are that person again.
It's funny because I have had some past life recall that came to me kind of spontaneously because I was doing astral projection. And you're right. I was taken to like certain times of that lifetime that were particularly traumatic. And often it was the death scene.
Right. You're observing it. It's like sometimes you leave it, but then it's like you're popping out of the body and you're observing it. It's like, okay, that's the body, and that's it. And everything comes clear. It's like now you're just the soul that was the so-called soul. Sometimes we speak to it too, and you have now that clearness to see what was the lesson about it. What was the purpose of that life? In all those details, it just come right through it.
Right. So I've heard of cases where people have gone to remember a past life and they were suffering from perhaps eczema, arthritis, or a bad back, or actual physical illness. Have you had instances where people were actually cured of physical illness?
Yes. Even cases like the extreme cases too. I remember one lady that she kept having like spontaneous what do you call? It's not abortion. It's I forgot about the what do you call that?
Miscarriage.
Miscarriage, exactly. She had miscarriage, and she went for the doctor for many times, for many years, and she was like desperate, She tried, the other methods like the medical, procedures. Somehow it didn't work. But then when I regressed her, she was seeing another past life when she died, when she was, giving a labor, when she was delivering a baby.
Wow.
She died in there. So the soul it was like kind of like reminding her that was like dangerous. So the soul was acting, like, don't do that because that's dangerous, So we get to speak to the soul, like, you know what, this is another lifetime. And somehow all lives are connected.
Yep.
So we just spoke to the soul, please, this is another lifetime. She's okay, she's fine. And soul agreed to it. Like, they agreed, say, okay, let's just let it flow. And guess what? A year later, she had her baby.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah.
So I'm glad,
To the people in chat, we will get to questions towards the second half of the show. So if you do have questions, please do feel free to punch them in there and we will get to them. But so this is all about healing then.
It's about healing, yes.
Not only physical healing, but mental healing, spiritual,
emotional. Yes, emotional healing is a lot of that because everything's. One thing that I discovered, everything's connected. Preston, even we have mind patterns that you don't see it. You have a belief system that won't allow you to see the truth.
Thank you.
Yeah, the whole point of that. This is the way I was taught this. Okay, let's see if you agree with me or not. You're born into this world and you have a physical body and you have a physical mind, and your mind is learning every day new things. Okay, and it only knows what it knows. Your consciousness, your actual soul, who you are, while you're indwelling, is supposed to be able to speak to your physical mind 24/7.
Yes.
But we, for reasons of stupidity, fear, social training, whatever, have that connection go thunk, and it shuts down.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So when you go into hypnosis, your hypnosis and your technique brings you down to the point of total calm where your physical mind shuts up.
Exactly.
And
yes.
it lets your consciousness ring in.
Right.
Every life you have ever lived is out there for you now to observe.
Right.
You're not unconscious when you are hypnotized. You are lucid and aware. Your physical mind has shut down its jibber jabber to listen to your real self.
Yes.
And the connection is wide open during hypnosis.
Right.
And so you become one with who you really are.
Yes.
And that's how you hear what your past lives are, because your consciousness is going, okay, we got to connect. Let's start talking. And it'll never into your physical mind and the person hypnotizing you what's going on. That's what's going on. It's not complicated. As long as we've been in existence, we have reincarnated. There is no number that anybody can assign to any one person or consciousness. How many times reincarnated? I'm answering a question right now.
Okay, many times. There's no
there's no number. It is eternal. It's eternal. You will always be able to do this, and you can reincarnate, just not here, but anywhere in the universe you want to go. Because there are other worlds.
Yes.
That's right. And it's not that complicated,
Exactly. Complicated. Cool. Yes. Right. Okay. Right. So that's another part that, going back, you really explained it, like, for me, thank you. You summarized it really well. Thank you, Dolly. That's what I love you.
I love you too, Martin. I really do. But we agree on so many things, and it's like I hear you. You're like I am. I speak Swedish first, okay? Todo de svenska, okay? You speak Swedish? No.
Not at all.
Yeah. So I'm speaking in Swedish, and I'm trying to translate as I speak. Since I've been doing the show, I get a little bit better every time. And I heard you struggling, and I was like, okay, I'm going to just help a little bit. So, okay, go ahead.
Thank you so much. And when you were mentioning, like, some of the people, they there's like a percentage. Like, I could say, like, just for my clients, I cannot speak for anyone else, but on the clients that I had, about like 20% of them, they don't remember anything. They can't recall anything from the session. Once I wake them up, I always ask, how long, do you think, the time went by? And they were like 10 minutes, 15, when already past 2-3 hours,
Because
so
there's no
like,
time,
yeah, one time, exactly. And they go like, what? And I because the whole session gets recorded. That's the beauty about it. Everything gets recorded, so you get to hear it afterwards. And that's another process that is kind of like really, for some it could be like intense, or it's like a download too. It's like you kind of like a dreaming in daytime. You listen to it, and the whole scenes start showing up, and you see more details about it. You know what I mean? For some of the people, another percentage, yes, like Dal explained, sometimes you're unconscious, but sometimes some people, they get to recall some scenes, here and there. This, I remember watching this happened, but not details.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, when they hear recording, it goes, they see the whole, more details about it, And another percentage, they look more awake, They're like, I remember I was one of them. I was really awake, but I could see everything too. And it was very intense too, but very healing. So that's kind of like a 3 categories for people who have the experience, reliving these past lives, But here's what many of them, like in higher percentage, I could say like maybe 75%, when higher self or source speaks through you. Remember, I'm not a channeler. I don't do readings. I don't do interpretations. No, everything comes from the client. So when higher self starts speaking through the client, it changes their voice tone. Even if you have an accent, that accent is gone.
I know.
But it's still ultimately them. It's still them, because they are soul.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but then here's a little difference between the soul and the spirit, or the higher consciousness. Remember, soul will retain all the memories, all the experiences, all the knowledge, all the wisdom. But then when we connect to higher, with the higher self, or really, whatever you want to call it, it can tap into anyone, into even, let's say, if I want to ask about these people that I know from Argentina, and per se, President doesn't know about this guy, but I know him, I can make question about him.
That's right.
And I got delivered all events that happens around the world.
Yep.
And he can deliver it.
Wow.
It's weird. Somebody's asked me once, and I had only one explanation for it, and it seemed valid at the time. I was very young. I was trying to tell a friend, because this one friend was very, very advanced like I was. And we were discussing past lives, because my past lives started coming to me lucidly. Okay, I knew what they were. And she said, how do you remember them? And I said, I don't know how I remember. I just do. It's like I'm myself. I'm me. I said, maybe you have amnesia in your physical head. And that's what the problem is. You're amnesiac, you're cut off from that which you already know. And I said, maybe if you look at it like that, maybe you could do things to stimulate yourself to remember, And she was like, okay. And then I lost contact with her when I became an adult, and I'm dying to find out someday,
Right.
So whether she did it or not,
Yeah, we're all kind of amnesiacs, aren't we? Because we should remember our past lives.
Okay, but guess what?
Absolutely.
This is part of the challenge of this school Earth. That's what Source had explaining us to us. Like, part of that, there's rules and regulations planet, and that part of regulations, you cannot remember once you go into the body. Okay, you forget about your background, all your soul journey. But guess what? That's the part of the challenge that we all sign up. I mean, when we are on the other side, we know that. As a soul, yes, we have to forget, but that's a challenge for you to remember who you really are.
You know what I believe, Martin? And I'm going to be honest about this. I think we are our own worst enemies when it comes to this. And I have only myself as an excuse for why I say that. Because I was practically born remembering who I was. I knew who I was over and over and over again.
Little kids are very good at it.
I drove my mother crazy, because I would just walk in the kitchen and start singing or talking in another voice in another language of who I was. And I was trying to tell her from that perspective of who I was, what I was doing, and who I was. And she just flipped out. And but I didn't live in a house where I was told that this was not okay. I didn't live in a house where my psychic abilities were dumped on. I didn't live in a house where I was told I was wrong, weird, strange, or inappropriate, and I think that's where we all become responsible at that moment. I think all of us on this planet, if we fostered it, if we taught our children, use your abilities, come on, let's see what you got, help them, work with them, help them train. It'll help you train as well. That will open the door to an exponential awareness and awakening on this planet that would be unprecedented in time. I think that would be so important for us, because I don't think the rules say that we have to forget. I think that we're responsible for that. It's our own stupidity.
Exactly. And that makes sense. You know why? Because it's going to force you to look within, because it's always looking outwards, like what I see. It's not.
It seems to me that, as we develop here on Earth, we reach a point where we do start recalling that stuff. And once we're completely opened up and we're there, you know what? Now it's time to move on, perhaps.
Exactly.
We did learn our lesson here.
Exactly.
I'm not doing that again. No. I move forward now. Thank you.
Here's a question. So how many sessions does it take usually for a person to sort of get what they're coming for, so to speak? You know what I mean? Do they come back? Do you do multiple sessions?
Great question. This technique, it's for what I have seen in my clients. Almost 70% is only one session, Preston. And the other, if they have to come back, it doesn't depend on me, on my judgment. It's from source. We ask them, sometimes we ask them, like we could see it, like it doesn't really need it or not, but we ask anyway. Does this need person, or does Dolly needs to have another session like this later, months later? Sometimes they'll say, oh yes, or say no, not for good, or if she wanted to. I mean, there's like two choices. One, yes, when it tells you, yes, you have to come back. Then I have to ask, when is more appropriate for the person to come back? And source will say, exactly. I had clients, the most longer was like next year, just she'll take like a year, and she'll come back again. They're like, okay. And I remember one of the clients was like, in 3 weeks, she really needed it. It's like in 3 weeks, she had to come back. Even though they showed me like 2 past lives, but there was a lot of healing into this person.
Yeah.
Some people are going through very difficult times, I guess, and they just need some more work.
Yes, a lot of work. I remember this client was one of my cases was like, because she had a lot of fears, but she pulled it through to the session. I remember her body started shaking, like constantly, like,
oh my goodness,
but shaking like not like this, Preston. Oh, Dolly, it's a movement that no one can replace, like very fine, but super fast, like her body. So when I tried to speak to source, I was like, give me 5 minutes. It started moving, feet, chest, all her body, and was like, what is going on? And source goes like, we're shaking her up because she had a lot of fear on her cells. I was okay. And then, of course, she had many symptoms. She had, issues with the womb, many things that she had. But then she came back 3 weeks later. Guess what? That's one of my clients that they show her an AT light too. With these beings, like they had no mouth. And we were able to speak through that council of that civilization. And I was like, wow.
Amazing. So how many people would you say you've have come to you to get a quantum hypnosis session? Have you done like over 100?
Yeah, I got more. Yeah, probably like 250 maybe. Yeah.
All right. So you've got a lot of experience with it then by now.
So I'm getting right now. Yes. And of course, sometimes when I do workshops, sometimes people got hints of past lives or other things. And so I tell them, just write it down. Whenever they're ready for hypnosis, come over again. It's like a hint of it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's something that it changes their lives. It really is transformational. That's the thing about this. That's what I love about this. It doesn't leave you that mystery of it, or like, oh, why did I get to see this? No, it's explained really in full detail how it's related to your present life, and of course it resolves all your questions, all your conflicts, even accidents. It's amazing when sometimes source explains, this accident happened for this reason, or the people created it, or sometimes like their guys intervene, because I had people where they had like really they should be dead, and guess what? Something happened, and somehow they went to the hospital. I remember this guy who was riding a motorcycle in New York City, how dangerous it is. And he got, hit car, the guy was flying, many feet. He's just rolling. And he's just laying down the pavement, he thought he was dead, the ambulance came. They took him to the hospital. No broken bones, not even a scratch. You explain
that. Something was there.
Exactly. That's how
somebody carried him through that. That's right. He had hands on. Yeah.
In the same client was in the World Trade Center when the two airplanes hit the towers.
Ooh.
And he survived by someone who they didn't even know. The guys from maintenance start calling like, hey, there's an elevator down here. So
yeah. Do you ever tell people that here's your sign that there's something about that? When you escape death like that more than once, there's something you're not doing that you should be doing. And here's your sign letting you know that life is short and you're wasting it right now. And what can you do about it? That's what I tell people when I hear stuff like that. It's like, oh, you're not doing something you're supposed to. 2 warnings, two. Here's your sign. Think about it. Come up with
when you're doing what you're supposed to do, the door's kind of open for you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if you're like Dolly say, you miss the signs.
It's amazing. Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to escape death, and trust me, lots of us have done that. But most of us either understand what that means or we don't. And if they're still asking questions and they don't, you kind of need to sort of like prod them into thinking about it. It's like, is there a reason why this is happening to you? Think seriously on this matter, because you're the one that's got to, it's your response to it. That's the most important thing, Only you can answer this. Only you.
Exactly.
Apparently, the signs are there that you should and must do that,
Yes.
So, yeah.
To finish this story, because you guys going to love it.
Okay.
I remember this guy was like, months later, we tried to identify this guy because they saved about like 20 or so some people on that floor where my client was, and then they say like months later that we start to looking for who exactly was to to give him thanks, because he was a hero. But guess what? No one can identify him. The guy was not there, for years. He kept looking for it, even. For the management, they said no, because they given a portrait about the guy who saved them. No one can find them.
Wow.
And then in the session it was explained from source that was a guy, an angel, as a embedded as a human, just for that assignation. And I'm like, so what is important about this guy to being safe, And the answer was because he's important for the community and for the grid of Earth, but he doesn't know it. So it's necessary for him to stay alive.
Here's the sign. Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting to me because there are so many cases where people have a near-death experience and like, no, it's not your time. You've still got work to do.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah. So
very interesting.
So the mystery got resolved.
Wow. So with all these sessions, has there been any sessions that kind of stood out for you that were particularly dramatic or?
Oh my God. It's all kinds, Preston. Even very dramatic. Yeah, because sometimes when they experience the death scene, sometimes it could be tragic. But they show them for a reason, and the reason sometimes is because they overcome the fear, when they overcame, because they keep holding that fear of the unknown. Some people, they think like this is the only life that you have, and they fear, okay, what's the next? So they're showing that
kind of hit right on it. Fear of death is something that paralyzes so many people.
I know, and
It's
they'll
the
hang
guiding
on
force
to
of
the
people's
very
life.
last shred of existence. And matter of fact, some people will live past their due date, you know, their exit date, I guess, because they're afraid to go. And I mean, it's terrible. I've seen it as a nurse. I've seen it over and over and over again. They're
Right.
literally holding on and holding on and holding on. And it's at that point, all a nurse can do, or a family member even, is hold their hand and say, "It's okay. You're not ending. You're beginning. It's your turn. It's your turn to open the door. You know, go through the door."
Yeah, overcoming fear is such a big deal.
Yeah, even though if it's a tragic death, guess what? The soul just pops out, even though the body's still, screaming and in full of pain.
Oh yeah, it's already out. Thank you, Martin. Thank you. I say this to Preston over and over. He's asked me multiple times, is it that bad? And I'm like, no, you already out. Your body is just ending. You're already out. You've already separated from it.
You're observing it. Yeah.
That's right.
It's comforting. That's nice to know.
Yeah. Don't fear that. You're not going to die in mortal agony. You're not. You're already out. You know your consciousness, your soul knows when it's time to go. Bye bye. See you. Woo woo.
Exactly.
And you're out. You know. And some people, like my last life, I literally walked out of my body. I dropped dead on the floor where I was standing. Right. And I had a warning too, and I ignored it. Okay. Right. And I was young, and I just went to the floor. And I was standing there staring at myself thinking, well, hell, excuse my French. And I moved on,
Right.
And it's that's why I tell everybody, live every day like it's the last day you're going to be here. Exactly. Get everything done every day that you need to do, because it could be your last. And it's not in a bad way. It's in a good way, because if you're ready, it's even better when you walk through it.
And practice gratitude. Gratitude every single day of your life, even though things are, but it's gratitude for something you experience in this, because it's teaching you something.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because people are saying, oh, this horrible thing happened to me. But often it's that horrible thing that sends you on a different pathway.
Exactly.
And it's an absolute silver lining, and it improves your life immensely, because finally you have your wake-up call.
Yes. It's for growth, actually. Every crisis, it means it's opportunity to grow.
Right. Yeah. How we respond to
that. Yep. Yeah. It's an opportunity more than anything.
Exactly. Yeah. And going back to to the death scene, I remember I have my own past life. Someone shot me in the head. Did I feel anything? No, nothing at all. I just saw the scene like going sideways, like and I was like, what's going on? But then when they asked me what's going on, what's happening, I had these emotions, feeling these emotions of desperation, of limitation, of fears, and all that. I tried to explain, and I start kind of like a emotional vomit. I start crying, But then it was like so healing, And I remember when I saw this scene, like I was watching the body laying there, full of blood, just observing it, And then they asked me, what was the reason? What was the purpose of it? What was the lesson? It just came right through. You had the knowledge, but you didn't do anything. Now's the time. You do not doubt yourself. We are always with you. Do it. This is your time.
Right. Exactly. Wow. Yeah. I learned the expensive lesson I learned in my last life was that I knew it coming through to this one. Okay. And it was one of the first things that my father and ET both said to me: for every action, there is an equal or opposite reaction. Right. Everything you do has that law sitting on it. Okay.
Right.
And my life before this one, I paid no attention to what my body was going through by what I was doing to it. Okay. Right. I was about 41 when I passed away. I had a massive heart attack. Okay. And I just straight down to the floor, dropped dead. Right. And when I came through, the very first thing I realized was, oh, I get it. That's exactly why, right there. I'm looking at my own excuses are laying on the floor. Every excuse I ever made for myself that didn't point me in a positive direction is laying right there. And I pondered myself for a few minutes before I walked away. And when I came through to this life, it's one of the first things that hit me in the brain pan. You have an opportunity, work it, do what you must, do what you must. And I've never let that fail me. And yeah, there's some cathartic moments in your life where you're still working through stuff and you have to let it go. You're like throwing up your emotions to it. That's a way to let it go. Let it go. You evacuated it from your body or from your consciousness. We have to learn to let go of stupid stuff and cherish and are grateful for the right stuff, the good stuff, and take care of ourselves, It's not mystical or magical. It just is.
I have many sessions where people, when they see the particular past life, they're repeating the same lesson into this lifetime.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird? Like, I didn't do it right the first time. Let's see if I can do it wrong the second time. Okay, again.
The things gets harder. So for you to get the attention to look inward again, that's the whole formula. You have to look inward because, like I said before, that's the belief system. My mom and father had to love me unconditionally. Yes, but sometimes you choose those parents that neglect you for something. Why? Many of the reasons, like you are love. It depends on you. It brings the responsibility in you. Sometimes the lesson could be you have to forgive them.
Yeah.
And I had like people like that, what was the lesson? She or he needs to forgive them. That's the lesson.
Let it go. Forgive them. It doesn't. Every when somebody does something to us, whether it's vicious and meant and black-hearted or whatever, no matter what it isn't on you, it's on them. Okay. Yes. And they can't move forward without you realizing that. Okay. You can't move forward or learn from it without you showing them the way, because they picked you to do it too. And all you have to do is look them in the face and say, or send them a letter or whatever you want to do and say, you know what? I totally abolish in my heart any feelings I have toward what you did to me, because it's still on you. And I want you to think about this. I want you to work through what you need to do to fix you, because you deserve love just like the rest of us.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay? And do it.
Just look at Eva Moses, one of the Holocaust survivors.
Yeah.
The whole story broke out, and she really inspired a lot of people around the world, being a Holocaust survivor. And she had to forgive, the Dr. Mengele and the whole Nazis.
Oh, I know. Yeah. They will go. We all pay for our own stupidity. Okay. And we shouldn't take other people's on with us. Okay.
Right.
That's a bad karmic mistake to do. Okay.
Yes.
Don't take all the other stuff with you. Let all that go and heal yourself.
Yep.
You deserve love. You deserve, the emotional release of learning and educating yourself and becoming wise, right? And it's like fear. Fear is a big one.
And the surprise about this, yes, I totally agree. It's surprise about some cases, Dolly, is like whoever mistreats you, sometimes they were a volunteer for you to experience it. So there's no kind
or
they
were
like
just
consciously
anyway.
Side, they choose. That's what for me was like mind blowing too. It's like, are you kidding me? Like we plan these. Yes.
Yeah, and how are you going to respond to it? You say, you know what? It's okay. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry for what you did to me, but I will forgive you for it, because there's something that you got to work on. And I'm going to go work on myself now. And, I love you and you deserve love. And if I can help you, I will, but not to the point that I let you do it to me again.
Right.
And that you have to learn that.
Exactly.
Right. We have boundaries. That's right. They protect us, and it protects them too, because every time you're responsible for messing with somebody else, that adds stuff. And if we all realize that and we have boundaries, we kind of stop them. It's sort of like a warning.
Yes.
Warning, danger, Robinson. You're about to make a mistake.
Right.
Fear is
I want to add to your bad karma there.
No.
I want to pop up a question from chat. Well, it's actually just a comment, but I thought this was interesting.
Yes.
Have you ever run across any evidence of that? I know researcher Ian Stevenson talks about this, and he's did a lot of work on reincarnation.
Yeah, for many cases, it's true. Some people that have burn marks, it means sometimes is the way they die in another lifetime. Either born, either stabbed, either shot at it, you name it. Sometimes they're
crunch. Yeah, it leaves a mark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
in addressing the what the president say karma. Some cases, yes, it's karma way around. Sometimes the person did wrongdoing in another lifetime, and now they had to experience the other spectrum or the other duality,
Right. Yeah.
in order for them to learn it.
And
Sometimes
what better way to learn what it's like to be cruel to someone than to be the victim of that cruelty?
Yeah.
Yes,
Maybe not the victim, but the recipient.
exactly. Yeah, I have many cases like that too. So it goes about balance, So because now from the spirit side, we can see things clear. Like I said, there's no belief system. There's nothing to influence. There's no excuses. You can see it clearly. But now when you're in this body, like we discussed it before, yes, there is the belief system, and all these, nightmare that we have. But it's part of it, it's part of the challenge.
Ooh, I have a question. When you have people who are under and you're talking to them, have you noticed that some people are observationally better at explaining what they're seeing and remembering than others? And are they more psychic? Do you see a higher psychic level in them? Because observation and psychic ability go together, and the higher your ability level, the more observant you are. And I was curious.
Yes, I had cases like that. Yes, usually the normal person that have no abilities whatsoever, you remember they are not in that state, and we are the ones we just making the questions. It's like simple as this. Like think about like if person is now is like a past life, the question goes like, what do you see around yourself? Now he can describe me, the books in the shelves and so on. But then, they might not see the little, details like the toys, the alien toys, things like that, But they clearly get to see what's important in that life, in that scene, really.
Yeah. Okay. Now I have an add-on question to that, because this is important. It helps explain a phenomenon that we all experience, that we all need to learn how to stop it and work on it. And it's fear. Okay.
Right.
The
Yes.
less your abilities are, the more fear people have. And that's because they are not observant enough to know what's really going on, so that it negates what the fear is. It's like walking in a dark room and you can't see an exit or a light in the window, and every sound and everything that comes at you is terrifying.
Yes.
And now live in a society where that's kind of fun to do, and people do it to each other all the time, and your abilities are still not operating as they should. And now you're being bombarded with fear to the point that it overtakes your physical mind into hell. And then how do you stop that?
Okay.
Go for it.
There's many types of ways that you can stop it. But first of all, I have another technique, what I call emotional release. That really is like once a month, 9 sessions, really, when we go over your conflicts with people, mostly with people. From there, sometimes we open the subconscious. This is very cool, because when you go into the subconscious mind, it releases that whatever the root cause was for particular fear. And guess what? Sometimes when I take people under hypnosis, sometimes they, many of the illnesses, the same person created it without knowing it.
That's because that's where anxiety's hitting you, right?
Anxiety,
Fear and anxiety are like twins in the body.
You name it. Any emotion that you retain, it creates like an energy, a frequency. And whatever issue on the body is like telling you a message, but we ignore it.
It can manifest as a physical illness.
Yes. And fears. Yes, and fears is one of the things that is very hard to identify, because it can pop up in any part of the body. But it's fear. Fear of what? Fear of whatever, rejection, anger, whatever that the people had on their own conflicts on this lifetime. Remember, this is the lifetime. We don't have to go sometimes the past. No, it's these lifetimes. Many cases.
You open up in psychotherapy and you shine a light on what that is at the root of it.
Yes.
Okay, and you let them experience it so they can get past it, right?
Yeah, we have to release it emotionally, because many people that they repress the emotions, they don't speak about it. They shut down. So in that atmosphere, you have to speak it, even with bad words, to qualify, to identify that energy. Like if you anger, sometimes you have to throw out like bad words to it, sometimes,
So know thyself, in other words, understand what it is that's plaguing you. Know all that is knowable. You shine a light into your own brain pan. You start working on things like one at a time or two, however many you can you're not afraid to work through it. And if it takes somebody else helping you, like a hypnotherapist or even a psychotherapist, that's a way to help with that. Because in like drugging yourself isn't going to do that. Okay, it takes you actually working on it. It's your job to heal yourself.
Exactly.
And you have to resource. Hypnotherapy is a resource.
Yes.
Psychotherapy is a resource. Talking to your friends is a resource. Talking to the person who's the problem with you is a resource. You know? Okay. That's a good way to start.
I want to pop up with another question, and I'd love to have both you and Dolly kind of touch on this, because I found this a really deep question. So souls are already elevated. They're part of source, right?
Yeah, we're all the same. Yeah, we all know the same thing in source. We are all we all have the same mind connection to the all mind, to God, okay? We all know everything in source, all of us, every last one of us. We are as high up as you can go.
Let me get to this question, though, because we are a soul, we're in source, we're elevated, but we come down to have a human experience. And Poetic Poems is asking, how many times, Martin, do you think a soul reincarnates? So I'd like to hear what you have to say about that, and you too, Dolly, because this is a good question.
You answered that about 45 minutes ago.
Exactly. It could be perspective. Of course, as a humans, we always think, okay, how many, lives we have on this planet? Okay, the other question could be, how many, incarnations you have out there in different planets, different systems, even universes.
It's endless. Essentially, right?
Yeah.
I remember one of my clients, he asked like, how long, how many years in linear time the soul has existed in this client. Guess what the source answer was? It's like, okay, we're gonna put this on linear time for you. Okay, so how many years? He goes like 650 billion years
on this planet. In
the universe. 650 billion.
Well, he just threw a number out then. Yeah, it's actually Martin.
It's infinite, right?
Eternity.
That's what
eternity. It's not billions. It's not trillions. It's not zillions. It's not quadzillions. It's no number you could possibly imagine. That's right. This Earth, we've only been on this planet for 650 billion years. Think about it.
Maybe the question is more, how many times do we incarnate into the third dimension?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It could be short time. People, it will be a long time. It doesn't matter, because the universe, it doesn't care how many times you incarnate. As long as you learn the lesson, as long as you graduate from it.
Wisdom. You have to build wisdom. People say, I want to raise my frequency. No, it's not your frequency. It's your knowledge base. In source, we know everything, and we're kind of like educated idiots there, because our wisdom levels, only God has all that wisdom. And we come into the third dimension or the fourth dimension or the fifth, the sixth, seventh, eighth to learn wisdom.
To experience it, because there's no experience up there.
Right.
Per se. It's only theory. When we come to the body, that's when we, put things hands on.
And then you can use it. Right. You can operate it. It becomes part of you. You can actually operate it. You can work it. You employ your abilities at that point. You employ your wisdom.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Here's another good question, because I think this is something all of us can benefit from. This is from Astrid Guder. Any tips on getting past fear and anxiety? I'd love to hear both your answers on this one, because I have some ideas.
I have like I said, I have my own therapy course. I call it like that. It's like 9 sessions, and we go over those unresolved issues that you have, because it's the result of this accumulation of all these conflicts, and that goes into the subconscious part. And when you keep repressing it, anything goes bad, it's a trigger going on, and you got anxiety again, and so you're kind of like literally like a volcano holding those emotions down there, all these experiences. And then you really have to get it out, It's like someone, had a bad food, and your body is like reacting to, to puke, to vomit. It's exactly almost the same, You have conflicts within yourself that you don't allow yourself to speak about.
Okay, and I'm going to answer this like I'm talking to a 5-year-old, okay? Because most of us have fear like 5-year-olds. We haven't gotten past the 5-year-old yet, okay? And this is what you say to somebody in that situation. Here's an example of what fear is. Fear is not knowing what's behind the door. And if you sit there and wonder about it and fear it, you're going to become anxious, you're going to get a stomach ache, and you're going to throw up.
Yes.
If you do it over and over and over again, it will affect you so much that you will never open the door.
Right.
How do you get past that? How do you stop yourself? Well, human beings are, what's the word? Okay, I'm just going to use it. We're habitual thinkers. Our physical mind is a habitual machine. It's garbage in, garbage out, good in, good out. That's the way it works, like a computer. If you keep putting bad thoughts in your head about things,
Yes.
you're going to have nothing but bad thoughts. So the idea of getting rid of the fear is to, in your mind first, work it out with yourself first. Imagine what's good behind the door. Put your ear to the door. Know all that is knowable about what's behind that door, as much as you can understand it before you open the door. There's no fear in opening a door that you can assume you know what's behind it. And assuming is not 100% okay, but it is okay if you hear music or happiness or, love going on or colors or music. Open that door. Do not be afraid to live through your life. That's what your life is. It's a door of opportunity over and over and over again that you have to walk through. And if you fear walking through that door, you're hurting yourself. You're not helping yourself at all.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Okay. That's how you tell a 5-year-old to stop being afraid, to work on that.
What I would tell people is gain experience.
Yes.
If you fear something, walk towards it, not away from it.
No, avoid it. Yes.
And recognize that you are an integral
Powerful.
part
Yes.
of this universe. You cannot be destroyed. You
Right.
are immortal. So just recognize that and tell yourself over and over again, don't be self-defeating. I can't. No, I won't. No, I'm afraid. No. You are strong. You have courage.
Yes.
And
You've survived so much already. Just being born, trust me, is a big deal. You've done it. You're here. You're good.
Meditation, I think, helps a lot. And also love. Walking in love with another person, if it helps you, or alone.
Yeah. Take
just
a buddy.
that state of mind of love, because love
Right.
conquers fear every single time.
Right. And we're all supposed to help each other with this stuff anyway. If somebody says to you, I need help with this, seriously consider why they need help and then try to help them if it's valuable to them. That's you're giving them something that they need, like walking through the door. It's like, come on, we're together. We can do this, And then when they get to the other side, you step back and let them keep going. And you say, you got this, you got this.
Right,
Confidence is not fear. Exercise, movement, individual thinking is not fear. You can't fear what you don't know.
Right.
And that's okay. Know all that is knowable. Learn. I mean, everything. If you're the type of person that has afraid to make a decision about a job, know about that job. All the ins and outs of it. Talk to people, find out.
Embrace your experience. Don't deny it. Don't say it's not happening. Embrace everything that's happening to you.
That's right.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
And for a reason, remember, it's for growth.
Exactly.
Don't look upon it as a negative experience. Look upon it, like you said, Martin, opportunity. Which what's better than an opportunity? Nothing.
That's right. Branch out. Prove yourself.
You don't get it this time, you get it next time.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Let me see. Do I have it?
Thank you so much.
That was a good question, Astrid. Thank you. Okay, John Arose. I don't know if you can answer this one, Martin, but let's give it a shot. Do you have a favorite near-death experience story from a recent memory you wish to share? Or perhaps a favorite session?
That's what I'm saying. That was my personal session that I was telling about when I got shot. I was a teacher, a tutor for these two little blonde girls and during Second World War in Eastern Europe. They took me to this kind of like a building in the middle of the forest. Probably was like a mansion, for this general. And then I had these two girls on my custody. But then, there was like this chauffeur. They summoned us, to take me away because I was lied to. And they took me to this car with this little girl. We went to this this place, this building, and I was able to see these two German soldiers with long coats. They opened the car. They snatched the girls from me. So I got out of there. I started forcing one of them, and that's how the other soldier just came right behind my back. It just shot me in the head. You know,
Yeah,
and
they
I was
wanted
like,
the girls to move in the way.
exactly. And I was able to see an officer at the descent with a black uniform and the SS on the shoulder. You know, I was like, what?
Oh my goodness.
So,
Yeah.
but that was very healing, you know. So I was able to see the scene from even they moved it like in 2 different days to explore what it exactly was, you know. And I recognized books where I used to, you know, work on the desk and this library that was my, you know, in my job. And they asked me about if I recognize these books, and I was start popping these books. One of them was from the Knight Templars. I remember the book, you know, and then I pop and I pull another one, and it was like the sacred geometry. Isn't that obvious?
A library of forbidden knowledge. Yeah.
Exactly. So that makes sense when they, you know, when I heard, you know, from my mouth, you know, exactly the source telling, yeah, you have the knowledge. This is your time. Do not waste it, you know? So I was like, oof, that really, it was healing. It was very self-confidence. Like, that's what I say. It's very transformational. So,
which is such a good feeling when it happens. It's like, oh,
yes,
it's a breath of fresh air.
Exactly.
All right, here is another question. I love these questions, guys. Keep them coming. This is from I got nerfed. I got nerfed. I get it now. I think I finally got it. I got nerfed. Okay. Do you guys feel like it is important to educate people on the power of the higher self and growing that to flourish in this current reality? I'm gonna say
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the purpose of it. Yes, and part of the what we do in the QHT or hypnosis. Yes, is once you do this, it's like the door is open for you to keep cultivating it, because many of the people that come, you know, for the session, they don't need to come for a second session. Why? Because now you know that, you know, the path. No, once, like, this is one of the questions that we do during the session. What would it be? Oh, first of all, how, per se, let's say Preston, how Preston can say the words where and how when he needs the most to communicate with you. See, where, when, in what words to begin the communication. And many people, that, you know, the reply was like, okay, go to the park, go to nature, when he's rested, when he's alone, to breathe, feel gratitude, then you can open up the channel or the conversation.
Well, I like what you're saying, because, you know, that's all it should take is one session, because you do have to do the work. You know, you can't rely on others. It's all up to you.
Exactly.
And you wouldn't want it any other way. I'll lead your life for you, but you're probably not going to like me very much because it's not my life.
Exactly. Yeah. So you become responsible too.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that.
Makes sense, right?
My mother took me to a strange place when I was very young. I was almost 3. And he happened to be a warlock, of all things. And he was in downtown Miami at the time. We knew him when he lived in Coral Gables, because we lived right next door. This guy disappeared in front of everybody one day. And she remembered him, and she looked him up, and he was an astrologer too. And she had him cast my chart, my brother's chart, her chart, and my dad's chart. And I don't know why she did this. I questioned her years later, did it help? And when I was there, he just sort of like let me run around. It looked like some kind of weird castle that we were in, you know. Coral Gables is where we were. Right. And I was running around, and I was half listening. And when he got to me, in my chart, he distinctly looked over, and he looked at me dead in the face, and he said, "You already know." And I went, huh. And my mom looked at me, and I just laughed at him, and I ran away. And yes, I did. I already knew why I was here. And living up to that, it's hard, okay? Because you still have to live your life. I still have a karmic existence here while I'm living up to why I'm here, okay? Right. And I've had, everybody does this. We have, you know, peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. And you wake up one day when you're looking back because you've reached a certain point of your life where, okay, I'm now on the path. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm faithful to it.
Right.
We're mushing through. And I look back at everything that happened to me before that, and I go, man, what a rough road I gave myself. I dug holes, buried myself several times. You know, it's like, oh my goodness. And all I can tell you is it's worth it to do the work, though.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because every time something happened to me and I got through it and I managed to be okay and heal myself through it, I'm better than I was. And it's not physically better, it's wise better, emotionally better, heart better. All those things that matter most to us is better. And I'm grateful for every moment of it. This is what the one fear we should all never have. We should always remember that, always. That you know, it's no Southern saying, I'm in the South, you know, Southern girl here, grew up. That which does not kill you makes you stronger is the truth.
Yes, it is true.
And it's worth every second of it. And all you have to do is remember how you respond to each thing that goes on is all on you. It's paramount that you see it with calm, with reserve, with focus, with observation, and never ever just jump into anything half-cocked. Stand back for a minute, look around you, see what's going on, and then decide how you're going to deal with it, you know? It's so important.
Without fear, with courage, I should say.
Yeah, with courage.
Going
observing too.
Purpose,
Yes.
Purpose is important. Yeah.
I'm going to pop up another question because we are getting low on time. We still have some. So this is from Kel. I like this question, Kel. Thank you. I've studied QHHT, but haven't done a session yet.
Mm-hmm.
I guess a part of me is hesitant. I'm not 100% sure if people are not just making things up. So my question, Martin, how do I get over this and convince myself?
Read. The advice I can give you, read the books from Dolores Cannon. They're amazing. She has 21 books already.
21?
21, yes. Yeah, when she passed away, she got only 19. Now they published 3 more because she left a lot of material there working at the same time. So, the daughters and all they keep working on it, to bring forward all the knowledge that she got. So,
Well, I have a question for Kelly. Kel, how do you know that it isn't your path to figure that out for yourself by doing just that? Okay, this is a path that you've decided to take. Don't hesitate the next step. It's up to you to decide the truth or not the truth of it. Every knowledge that we carry, it's not a belief, it's knowing. And if you can't know it, you have to research it yourself. And if this is what you've chosen to research, wow, jump in, both feet, go for it. That's how you find out the truth.
Exactly, yeah. Remember, guys, I was a skeptic too. I was probably like Kel too, doubting myself. And of course, I had this paranormal stuff that, that is not explainable, And then, of course, that drives me to be more curious about. So be curious about research.
Knowledge doesn't happen on its own. Nobody can teach you anything. You have to teach yourself. And that makes you automatically a researcher. Not just saying, research.
Curiosity is such a wonderful thing. It really does open the doors that we're, quote, afraid.
Doors, when you mind the doors, Good.
Very cool. Okay. Here is another question, which is from Louise. We love you, Louise. This is interesting to me because I kind of wonder about this. Is it a never-ending circle then? Live, die, soul gets more info. Live, die, soul gets more info. Live, die.
It's a challenge, really. It's a challenge. Once you're in the spirit side, you're like, okay, that wasn't bad. Oh, okay, I understand it. Okay, let's give it a shot one more time. That's the thing about it. You're in your body and you're using this mind, you don't realize it. Because remember, we always experience it as a human being. It's a different perspective from the soul or from the spirit side. It's very different.
I like to bring up ascended masters at this point. Okay. Buddha, what do you think Buddha is? You think he's still coming back here? I doubt it very highly. He's gone on to the next phase of his existence.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's what we all have to look forward to. I tell people that all the time. Why do you keep coming here and waste your time not learning what you need to learn? Don't you look for that horizon so that one day you realize, oh, I get to go now. I'm into the next thing.
Right.
Think about it.
Well, do you suppose that there is an end point that we're looking at here where you become one again with source and you're not? I don't know that there ever is.
That's one of my questions too, Preston. But now that I was able to speak with one of the council members of the galaxy, which is our very highly evolved beings, think about that. I was trying to make that question. And of course, it's part of soul evolution. Just like, whatever you feel your passion, just follow it. Once you do it and you enjoy your life, it's like both of you guys, what we do in this show is like, we're happy, we irradiating something for people to get it, and we do it with our hearts, and that gets tiring. No. How many shows you guys have? How many years you have, Preston and Dolly, and your experiences? Are you enjoying it? Right?
Oh yeah. It's life. It's a labor of love, literally.
Exactly. So once you get to that state, yes, things are more easy and flow to thrive in life.
Right. You get to the point where you start thinking about the next thing from here. I asked the fifth dimensional being, okay, Talada, my co-pilot, or the being that's in the dwelling the craft, and I said point blank, how did you get to where you are, and where are you going after this? I wanted to know. And he said, I eventually hope, because I don't know, but I have a feeling that I will eventually become so knowledgeable from living in existence that I'm able to have a person-to-person conversation with the all mind, the mind of all God. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he said, at that point, I don't know what comes after that. He said, I have ideas. I'm not going to tell them to you, because someday you will understand what I'm saying right now, and you'll have your ideas. He said, but think about it. How would you like to become so knowledgeable, so wise, that you can sit before the one being that created you and everything else and have a conversation on that level?
Right. And I was like, even that source too.
That was mind blowing to me. It was like, oh wait.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like thinking, how do you know how many numbers there are? How long is eternity? These are the kinds of things you want to know, but you can't, because we have a limited capacity for that right now. Yes. But oh my, that's a big deal to me now. I really think about it now and then. Cool.
Yes.
Well, I imagine source is itself always evolving, It's not
expanding.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's an interesting question from Lil Dev. Is source a soul collective?
Yes, it's all collective. Yes, exactly. We live in this experience as a separation per se, but we never separated from source, even from each other. It's like, how do you think? It's like when I give you an example, how do I met Preston? Somehow, I don't know where per se. One of his publications pop out, about ETs, and I was like, wow. I started reading about it. I was like, completely resonated with him, and that's how we were connected. Yeah. And sure enough, I grab an email, to Preston, what I do, and so on, and here we are.
There's these beautiful synchronicities. Look, we're all wearing blue tonight. See?
Yeah,
that's right. See,
almost the same color too.
Do we plan it?
You put it to me very beautifully, and other contactees have heard this. They used to say this like a litany to me. We are you, you're us, we're all one. And that's how it is in source. We are all one in source. Yes. We're all together. We're individuals, we have autonomy, but we are all together, and we can hear and experience each other always, all the time.
One of the answers for a client from source, it says, you are the universe experiencing itself.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep.
That's exactly the thing that, really woke me up. Because one day I realized, you know what? I'm alive. I exist.
Yes.
I am. And that's all I need to know. Because what greater gift is there than to actually have that?
Autonomy. We are who we are. That's right.
Oh my God. How beautiful and wonderful and just amazing is that?
It is. Yes.
It's crazy.
That's when gratitude starts. I am grateful for that.
Every single day.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, we're getting towards the last, I'd say.
3 minutes.
We should probably start to think about closing it off. I know you sent us some material. Do you want to touch on that real quick?
Yes.
we go quickly. Yeah, maybe some future we can go over. That will be immense because that was my
We're
reason
not
to.
waiting another year and a half for you to come back. How about in 3 months? You want to come back in 3 months? Okay.
We'll cover that another time.
Awesome.
Are you writing a book, Martin?
Yes, I am, because as part of the material that I sent you, I remember, when for the last time that I was on the show, I thought it was because I had these 2 sessions with the council. Now that I know this, the council of the galaxy, because before they present themselves, these 4 beings as the Earth guardians, But then back in my mind was like, are there more guardians?
Oh yeah.
And then sure enough, 3 years later, listen to this. 3 years later, it's like we hadn't came through again in the session, but then they deliver us a message every time. But then I was like, I had to make these questions, So sure enough, when they say, okay, we're gonna allow you to ask us few questions. So my first question was like, okay, I know you guys say like 4 beings came through, but are there more of you? And they say, well, that's not really important, but we can tell you that we are 24. And it was like 24. And that I remember, because I was growing up Catholic and I read the Bible, many of the Bible. And I remember the book of Revelations, it tells about the ancient ones, a council of 24. So I was like, you guys were named in the Bible, the ancient ones? It goes like, yes, people call us like this, or they call us another names, but we are the same ones. And I was like, it just, when I realized that, it just made me cry.
Yeah.
Yeah. We like names and labels, but ultimately we're all connected.
We name everything, okay?
Yes, exactly. Yes, I know that. Yeah, but because I know already that every planet, every solar system, even there's always councils for it,
Yeah.
But these are the ones who oversize everything, so overlook everything, and they explain that they work together. Every council for every planet, every solar system, constellation, galaxy, and different galaxies, and so on. They all coordinated this effort to overlook, supervise the expansion of life.
Cool.
Very much so. Yeah.
All right. So you want to tell our listeners how people can reach you? There are the notes, of course, in the show description.
Sure.
But
yes, I have
the information you want to share.
Yes, people can reach me through my website. Is www.quantumbalance.center. That's how it's very simple. Remember, sometimes when people go into it, it's bilingual. Remember, I speak Spanish, I speak English, so there's 2, for each one. Or people can reach me. Even I have Instagram as QHHT Martin Rivera. Even for Facebook, I have another account for Facebook, which I more interact with my own name, just Martin Rivera, as you guys see it. And YouTube, I have the same QHHT Martin Rivera. So I have been able to, publish few sessions, like segments that people, really care about, and they share with it. Not everything, but I have few of them. I'm very grateful for that, because it's like more educational. So people can reach me in that way too.
Yeah, well, I hope people reach out, especially if any of you out there, feel like you could use a little hand up, a little way to break through to, the issues, because we all have them. Let's face it. That's why we're here.
Exactly. Yes. There's no exception. All of us.
Well, thanks, Martin. You're just a light to the world. You're an absolute
delight.
Love you, Martin. And
lovely to speak.
Hang up, because we're going to talk about dates when we get offline. Okay.
You got it. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, I guess we're going to close out the show then. Thank you, guys. We love you all so much. We truly appreciate you tuning in. Thank you, Martin. You're awesome. Again, you can find him pretty easily on social media, and check in the show notes where you can get the exact links. Yes. And thank you, everyone who so generously donated. Sonny, it means a lot. Namaste. We love you endlessly to eternity and back.
Yeah, yes.
And Heidi, you are the sweetest, most generous person.
I want everybody to do me a favor. I'm not going to say why, but Heidi needs everybody's positive thoughts right now. She's in a situation. I know I'm not going to say what it is, but I will tell you that she needs every good thought we can send her way right now.
We surround you with light and love.
Surround you with light and love, Heidi. Okay.
And power.
Thank you.
And Louise, you're amazing. I got nerfed. Amazing.
I like that. Thank you.
so much.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Thank you.
Oh, wow. I got nerfed. You are absolutely astonishing. Thank you for your incredible generosity. And thank you all. We love you all so very much. It makes my Mondays so bright. All right, Dolly, I'm going to get in trouble if we go any farther. Let's lead it out.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to our show tonight, The Light Gate. We're coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana at the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 FM and 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast. We are on Rumble, we are on Roku, we're on Facebook, and we are on YouTube. We love you so much, everyone. Everybody, please fly, be free, seek everything you can find. I'm not kidding you. Be bold. We love you. Night, night.